Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bob Randall and Company live preview show. This is Bob over here, and today we have sitting in with us the world famous Mr. Myke Hutchings.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing today?
Good, Mike. Doing good, boys. Good to see you in here. You worked with Randall filling in for me for a few times, and it's my honor and pleasure to have you with me today to be able to you know, throw in everything that you know and that you can add in on all this great show that we do. And want to welcome everybody to the holiday. I mean, today's a holiday for most here in America. Of course, do you guys celebrate this holiday too in Canada?
We do celebrate Labor Day in Canada, definitely, definitely. So
Very
it,
good.
it, is, it is a great day here, and where I am in Hamilton, Ontario, it's a big important day because our professional football team has one of their big annual big games that they celebrate, being a steel city and a working man city here. So it's been pretty good here. So.
Now you shared something with me, but just before we went live, and it was you can hear the sounds from the stadium.
I'm about 3 blocks from the stadium, so I can hear the game going. I could tell that the local team is winning, judging by the excitement of the crowd. And I just checked; it is 27-15 for the local team, the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and
All right, yay!
it's a great time. And right now it's halftime, so if you hear any loud music, it's because it's the halftime show right now. So.
Yeah, well, festivities are always good. It don't matter where they come from, as long as
Yep.
we got some festivities going on. Randy has the day off, as we mentioned. He's working man. He gets out and works all year long doing the magic and the different shows that he does, variety shows, balloon art. I mean, Randy's a man of a lot of trades. Been doing it a long time, and he's had a deal he's been doing for the last 3 days. Today, I think, is the fourth day, maybe the third day. I'm not sure, but anyway, he should be back next week. But like I said, we are so glad to have Myke here with us. He has been doing such a fantastic job, and I kind of joked around with Michael Howell a couple of seasons ago when he came on about being our co-host, and that kind of turned into co-host. And so, hey, maybe we ought to tag you as the co-host.
I'm just honored to be here and honored to be asked to fill in whenever I can. And it's always a pleasure to help and great to be able to work with you and Randall and Angela, definitely. So
Thank you, Mike. It's always a pleasure. Like I said, hey, you know what? I just mentioned to you a moment ago, it is cooler here in the DFW North Texas area today. We're only 90 at this point. It's cloudy. Got a chance for rain the next 2 days. Got a little bit of a shower last night, first one any measure we've had here in our neighborhood for some time. So that's an always welcome. How's the weather where you're at?
well, it's currently 68 degrees and sunny here in Hamilton. So it's been quite a
Rascal
bit
you.
cooler. It's been quite a bit cooler. We've been topping out in the mid to high 80s over the past week or so. So it's nice to have a break from the heat. So
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Well, you know, it is that time of year. Seasons are changing. Days are getting shorter. Fall is upon us almost, and winter's right behind it. So, we're looking forward to that. Looking forward to the Christmas season coming up. Yeah, what else I'm looking forward to, Mike?
what is that?
That's something. That's something burger.
Ah,
We always like that something burger. I know Randy went up and beyond when he came up with that graphic. That was quite a surprise when he showed it to me. I said, "That's a burger." So I'm a burger
it is a
connoisseur.
burger,
I
yeah.
love burgers. That's a burger. All right, Angela, if you will, let's go ahead and jump into that. As is customary here on the Monday show, we always let Randy go first. And Mike being here today, we're going to let him go first today with the first question. So throw it out there, Mike.
Okay, so for those of you who are long time portrayers of Christmas performers, Christmas characters, and you're looking to enhance your upcoming performances and skills, what non-Christmas, non-claus skills would you be interested in looking into learning to help improve your performance, and why?
Good question, Mike. That ought to get some folks thinking right there. For me, I think, I was blown away by your performance with the puppets. I love puppeteering. I think that goes all the way back in my childhood. Howdy Doody, the little puppet that was on TV here for so many years, and grew up watching that. That was one of the first real introductions to that type of puppetry. It's a little different than hand puppetry, but it's all still the same. It's an extra character that's non-human, but that is interactive, and the children always just get a kick out of that. I think that would be something really cool to learn. It might be something I take up in the near future. Who knows? I do have an interest.
Very cool, very cool. It's definitely a good skill and a good way of breaking the ice with
Yeah,
shy folk. Personally, I'm in the process of taking mime and movement classes,
cool.
and basically being more focused on my physical presence and how that can change how people perceive me as both Mike and as a character as Phineas. So
Well,
it's
I was going to ask you if you had considered making or developing a new character for that particular role, or if you was going to incorporate it into your Phineas role. So that kind of answers that question.
I can't be a mime because I like talking too darn much. So
Well, that's something you and I have in common. I don't ever shut up, and I'm reminded at times. Shh. So, all right, we kind of figured today would be a light audience, being a holiday and all, and so we've got a handful of people. It's growing. More folks are starting to join us at this point. But let's jump over and see if there's any comments yet, Mike.
well, we've got Bill Coates watching us on YouTube. So hi, Bill. Hoping all is well. And on Facebook, we've got Sean White, Bill Gorbett from Canada. Hi, Bill. Hi, Sean. We've got Paul Anderson watching and David Milmine. So we've got the Hamilton crew out watching. That's very
How
cool.
about that?
We've got Deborah Kieser.
Kaiser, I'm not sure how she pronounced her last name.
Yeah. Ray Bradshaw from Texas. Judy Clausen Maynard. Kane Smith. So we've got quite a bit of folks coming in. And Ray has started answering our questions as well.
All right, let's see what he has to say there.
So Ray is interested in learning sleight of hand magic, and he's also interested in taking guitar lessons as well.
Those are both things that you can use in your Santa Patrol. We have a mall here in Dallas. It's always kind of been known as the prominent mall in our area because it sits really close to SMU University, Southern Methodist University, and that is, for those who may not know the Texas area, Highland Park and University Park is the first real richy part of town where the homes cost the most for years and years, all the way through the developing years of Dallas, and it's still prominent. The homes over there are well kept. They are worth tons of money. Most folks that live over in that area, make good incomes where they couldn't afford those type of homes. Now, there are a few of the homes that have been torn down and built newer, bigger homes in place on the lots that they were able to, but it is a very historic a part of town anyway. Long story short, there's a mall over there called North Park Mall, and for years, 30 plus years, we had a Santa from South Texas. He was a professor uh, in Austin, Texas, at the university down there, and he was known for his storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Really, throughout the day, they had storytelling sessions, but he got such demand that they had to end up giving out wristbands just to have an opportunity to get a chance to see Santa. And then some of those who had wristbands still didn't get to see Santa. So again, making this as quick as I can. One of our local Santas, who we're very proud of down here, took that position when Carl passed away last year. He retired the year before that. But anyway, he plays guitar, and so when they replaced Carl with him, he now has singing sessions throughout the day. They have a stage set up. He comes out, he sings to the children. really cool deal, and really proud of him. He's done such a great job. He also sings a lot of the ball games here, national anthems, and those sort of things. America the Beautiful, different songs. He sings in a rock and roll band, or I say a rock and roll band, a rock band, and plays guitar. So
Yep.
anyway, so that's a good thing to have that you can use as a Santa portrayer.
Definitely, definitely. And I will say having the guitar has helped me big time as well. And
Yes,
I think I've connected with that Santa as well. That's Santa Joel.
that's
So yeah, so he's definitely an incredible performer.
It's Joel Legrand, by the way. I
Yep.
did not mention his name. I'm sorry, Joel, brother. I am sorry. Yes, Joel Legrand.
Or Santa Jojo, as he goes on the
JoJo
internet.
is
So,
what his
yeah,
Sam's name is.
yeah.
That's correct.
So
That's
we've
true.
got Bill. We've
Mike,
got
you also play the ukulele, right?
He does. He does. Yeah, yeah.
And you do. You play ukulele.
I do as well. Yeah,
It is, yeah.
yeah. If it's got strings and frets, I play it. So
There you go.
so I've been known to pick a banjo and a mandolin even too. So we've got Bill Gorbett saying that he's interested in learning magic and American Sign Language as well. And
I think that's probably two of the most sought after extra skills that a lot of guys are into now, especially the ASL.
yep,
Uh, you know, there's not a lot of times you're going to use it. But how wonderful is it when you do need it and you have at least some simple Christmas terms that you can use? I know I grew up with a family down the street here that went to school with this lady's sons, and when I had my barbecue restaurant, she would come in and we had to take pad and paper and write out everything, and it was kind of a process because I didn't know ASL, and I always thought to myself, how cool would it be to pick that up, have it.
yeah, having ASL or any language, I can imagine knowing some good Spanish terms in your neck of the woods would definitely be helpful.
Yes, yes.
Up here in Canada, knowing French is very useful as well as ASL. And I'm also learning Spanish as well because we are having an increasing number of the Latino community coming up into Canada as well. So
Well,
that,
and it's changing, all over North America, really.
yep,
It should say Canada and United States being North America, but you're in the DFW area now, North Texas, or probably most of Texas. The Hispanic population is the largest population now,
yep,
and I know that as well as you do, because you were in San Antonio with us back in February for Northwest Cornerstones. They're 80+% Hispanic down there. Of course, it being closer to the Mexican border, that's part of the reason why. But their heritage has always been that. And remember the Alamo; it
yep.
was all Mexican territory prior to the Alamo that was taken back to the land. Of course, Texas was a gigantic state that encased a big portion of the desert Southwest at one time, and that was all Mexican territory back a couple hundred years ago or more. So
I was quite enjoying my time in San Antonio because we asked the hotel, one of the folks, where they would go to take their family. And when we walked in, we were the only Anglos there, and it was delightful.
But you know what, and that's something you really have to mention about San Antonio is yes, it's a dominantly Hispanic community now, but there was nowhere that I felt threatened or felt bad or felt even out of place. I mean, I felt safer there than a lot of other cities that I have traveled throughout the United States, even further north. So
Indeed.
I mean, it's really a friendly, touristy type of atmosphere down there with the Riverwalk and the Alamo and all the different sites. They got one of the top zoos in the nation, and
Yep.
it's a wonderful city to visit.
Yep. And now we've got Bruce, Dr. Bruce, who has joined us. We've got Santa Jeff B. Randy Neely has joined us. So welcome to all of you. So good to see you.
And David Belmont, you didn't mention your working partner, David.
He is here with us, as is Santa Mel from Michigan. So hi, Santa Mel.
Hello, sis. How are you? All right. Again, magic has become something that a lot of Santas are sleight of hand. I do a little sleight of hand trick that always works well, but a lot of the guys, the masters that do that type of thing will tell you, it's all in the setup.
Yep.
And if you don't set it up first correctly, practice, 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 and then the delivery is everything. And
Yep.
sleight of hand can be fun. It can be deceiving. Folks will stand there with their bottom jaw hanging on the floor saying, "How did you do that?" And in my case, it's such a simple little trick, again, set up ahead of time. And, but it really plays well. And so that's my one magic trick I can do, and I stand by it. So
I can produce a coin out of the ear or the back of the head or something, and that's all I really need to do.
I tell
So
you what, though, the kids always love it. Even as a child, I always was fascinated by that. And I'll tell you someone who was really, really good at that, and that was Gordon Bailey.
mhm.
He tried to teach me and my granddaughter. One night we sat in here for a couple of hours. I guess I'm just not coordinated enough to get those fingers working the correct way. With my sleight of hand, it's all palm.
Yep.
So it's not so much about the fingers as it is just get the right placement. But anywho, all right. Melissa says she's doing well. Well, Mel, I've been under the weather for about a week and a half and feeling better today. Still low energy and still have a lot of congestion with the breathing, but I think I'm on the mend and feeling better. So we're here, and it's good to have Scott fill in for me. I want to mention real quick last week for both shows. He's always available and does a good job at filling in as well as Myke does on Mondays here. So thank you to you guys who jump at the drop of a hat to come in and help us out here. All right, so you want to read that question again? Angie put it back up on the screen. See if there's anybody joined us that want to chime in.
Okay, so once again, if you've been a performer for quite some time, what non-Christmas or clause related skill would you like to learn to enhance your Christmas performance, and why?
So Ray Bradshaw, who is also here in North Texas, he's the county north of Dallas, and he says the hidden squeaker is a with the fist pump is always a great smile. It is, Ray. You know, uh, I don't go anywhere without my squeaker in my pocket, and you would not believe how many. This is just one small bag. I've got bags and bags and bags of squeakers that Gordon Bailey left me because this was his funniest and one of the most best contributions to the Santa community is these silly squeakers. How much fun can you have with a 50-cent squeaker?
Yep. I use the squeaker and I also use the light up thumb tips, but I get everybody mystified because I have all the different colors of thumb tips. And so I can pull out a color at random, or I can intentionally pull a color out because I have them all lined up in on a hip holster almost. So if I see something that has a blue light, I can pull out a blue light. If I've got a green light, I can pull out a green light because everybody sees the red lights and they expect that. And then if you get one of the different colors, you just
Especially if you switch it on them in midstream.
exactly. So
Ray says he still has 3 squeakers that Gordon gave him.
excellent.
I got a ton of them, Ray. When we went to clean Gordon's apartment out, I was astonished at how many bags of squeakers he had. And of course, those all come through Spangle, especially where he got them at. But I don't know. I don't know what he thought he was going to do with all those squeakers. I know that we always give them out in class. In all the set mob classes, we give at least 3 to each participant, and demonstrate how to use it in a few simple ways. I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. Gordo, which is Gordon's sock monkey, was how he first started developing the squeaker with the squeaker in his glove, and would squeak the monkey, and the monkey and him would interact as an extra character. So I keep him right here with me so that when I look up, Gordo is with me, and it's a piece of Gordon that I have near and dear to my heart. So
Wonderful.
all right, I think we went through that one pretty well. Mike, it was a great question. I like that one a lot. So Let's go ahead and jump into this next one. This next one's not going to be quite as simple because, you know me, I'm a man of few words. So let's see if we can get this thing started. When interacting with adults during the holiday season, do you prefer to say Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays? Do you try to remain neutral, considering you may not know their holiday affiliation, whether they're Christian or atheist, or follow another belief system? It's important to consider whether your audience is religious or secular. Additionally, which celebration do they observe? You have Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or any other holiday as far as that goes. There's so many now that are celebrated in the United States being a smelting pot. In other words, should you respect all beliefs and stay neutral or follow your own tradition and say Merry Christmas? Which for me, it just kind of comes out. I don't think twice about it. It's just Christmas time. It's Merry Christmas for me. Once in a while, if someone says Happy Holidays, I'll reply with Happy Holidays. Of course, they say Happy Hanukkah. I'll say Happy Hanukkah to you, since I don't particularly celebrate Hanukkah. But I mean, those are just questions that pop up this time of year. We got Dr. Bruce on with us today, and in his segment on the Tuesday Night Live show, he liked to talk about his background, his childhood, where they celebrated both secular and Christian in his family. So that was kind of an inspiration for today's show for my question, Bruce.
So I'll dive in, and I will say whatever the event dictates it needs to be, because number one, we are being hired as Santa and Phineas as emissaries of Christmas. So yes, we will say Merry Christmas. If I know it's going to be specifically a Christian event and that we're doing, it's definitely going to be very Merry Christmas. Um, so I also will read the room. If I notice that there are one of our holiday events that we do, there's a lot of Hindu and Muslim people there. And so I will say happy holidays, and they will often get quite upset if I don't say Merry Christmas to them. And I just sort of am trying to be polite and respectful of their traditions as well. But it literally depends on the event. I am there as an emissary of Christmas. I default to Merry Christmas unless I know otherwise, unless I know Phineas does attend non-Christian events during the winter solstice, events that are quite pagan, and so I will say Happy Holidays or Blessed Yule or whatever is appropriate for that event. So it depends on the event. It depends on the population that is there, but more likely it's going to be Merry Christmas because we represent Christmas.
Yeah, and I think for the new guys coming into the industry, that's kind of a point that they're not real sure of what to do. They're unsure of. They don't want to offend anybody. They don't want to sound too religious as Santa, because Santa is really supposed to be religious, uh, political, you might say. And so I know that that's a struggle that the new guys have. And once you've been doing it for a number of years, you kind of like you said, you can read the room, you get to know who people are and can be a better judge. But I know at first that was kind of a struggle I had. What do I say? When do I say it? And so again, want to back up 1 second because Jeff B put in a comment here that we don't want to skip over. We want to be sure and cover it.
Yeah.
Back to the squeakers. He says, I use the squeaker and the energy stick and have a leather bound old looking book with parchment paper and have the kids on the good list sign their own name. And that's a great way to do it too, Jeff, because uh, not every child, I don't care how many times you try, you're always going to have one child that either spells their name different or their name is just not in there because, the old days of Mike and Randy and Bob. Those are kind of old school names, and you don't see them as much as some of the newer spellings, twist on words, and things that are out there now. All right, back to what we were doing here. Ray Bradshaw says, "Squeaker stuffed animal on a shelf." Bob does in the class. But that's true, Ray. And Gordon again. I contributed that to Gordon Bailey. We went into a Buc-ee's. Most of you know what a Buc-ee's is now. For years, they were something that we just had here in Texas, but they've started broadening out across the country. And but they have a toy section and they have tons of stuffed animals. And I've had so much fun going in there and playing with the stuffed animals with the squeaker. I've got one story. I won't go into it today, but if you're interested in knowing, ask me and I'll be sure and tell you. But it was a little boy and a little girl, and mom wasn't with them, and I messed with them for a few minutes. And the older one of the two, the brother, he ran and grabbed mom and came back pointing at me, and but I even punked her, so it turned out good. Randy Neely says, "Merry Christmas always." Jeff B says, "I've never had anyone complain about Merry Christmas, regardless of their beliefs or religion." That's true, and a lot of people will just accept your answer because they know, it's what you're comfortable with saying. I think.
And
Hello,
it's
Gary.
from Santa Claus, right? It's coming from Santa. So
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at the history of the American Santa, pretty much, tells the story.
yep.
Hello, Gary Linder. Good to see you, my friend. Always Merry Christmas, he says. Ray Bradshaw said it depends on the client or gig. That's another point that Mike made. That's true, Ray. Hi, Dana Prostrollo. Good to see you. Merry Christmas, she says. All right, Dr. Bruce. This was the one I was waiting on. I usually using the greeting Merry Christmas, but I will say Happy Holidays depending on the event and if I'm asked to use the other greeting. Good point. Now, sometimes you go to the event organizer ahead of time if you think that the audience is going to be mixed or different beliefs than what you have. Maybe that's the best place to start and ask them what they prefer, and then tailor your answer to what your event organizer has to say. Ray Bradshaw comes back and says, "I'm Santa at Krampus Fest, December 14th in Denton as well." That's a fun gig for you. Uh, Ray Bradshaw says, "Mike MYK question mark." I'm not sure where that's coming from there.
And Everett Prostrollo just checked in. He was out weed eating the lawn. So welcome, Everett.
Yes, he was. That just popped up. I see that.
Yep. But
Be sure and take lots of fluid breaks, Everett.
I will say that even in the Christian faith communities, that there are different ways of greeting as well. We have a large group from Jamaica and the islands, and they come from a more British tradition, and they usually use Happy Christmas rather than Merry, and so it's an interesting just as I say, understanding the nuances of who you're working with goes a long way. But again, if it's coming from Santa and his elf, Merry Christmas is generally a pretty good default, and very few people have gotten upset with that, I think. So,
What about now, Mike? What about French Canadians? Is there anything that stands out there?
French Canadians have Joyeux Noël, which basically means Happy Christmas, joyous Christmas. Similar to if I have a large Hispanic or Latino group that I'm with, I will say Feliz Navidad and recognize their traditions as well. There's lots of ways to wish people the spirit of the season. So,
That's one I use quite often because, as we mentioned, a large portion of my clientele at my mall is Hispanic. So, and you mentioned learning Spanish earlier, Mike. It's kind of funny because I can one word them to death. I just can't put phrases together. But sometimes they'll ask me if I speak Spanish, and I'll start off with centavo, dinero, zapatos, and I'll start throwing in one-liners or one words at them, and they kind of tickled at me because that's all I know.
There's one on YouTube.
Okay, looks like and Ray Bradshaw was talking about different spellings of Mike, by the way, Mike. and you spell yours different than I think your given name, right? Is MYKE what's on your birth certificate?
my birth certificate is Mychal, Michael.
Okay, so there you go.
An Irish spelling. So yeah.
Very cool. Okay, Ken Kringle on YouTube says, "My Santa is originally from Norway and brings toys on Christmas. Therefore, it's Merry Christmas for me, and no one has ever blinked an eye." Good point, Ken. Senator Jeff B says, I was once told if you want to cover everyone, Merry, Happy Christmas, Kwanzaa, Boxing Day. Oh my goodness, that goes on and on and on. That's a good point, though, Jeff. Just roll them all in there together, right? That's the one you had to practice ahead of time, though, because I think I would get tongue tied on that one as I did trying to pronounce it. All right. Fantastic, Mike. I think we've gone through those. I don't see any others coming in at this point.
I
That's
don't.
always a great segment. I love that first part of the show each week because of this and the participation from those who's watching. And we want to thank everyone for taking a few moments away from their holiday today to come in and join us for a short bit. We're going to try to keep the show a little bit shorter today because of it being a holiday and all. But anyway, thanks everyone for joining us again today. We appreciate your support for sure. All right, are we ready to move on to SantaClaus.org and get this trivia question going? See if we can give something away today.
Hey everyone, Angela Mack here for Bob, Randyl, and Company Live, the show about nothing. Season 3 of Bob Randyl and Company Live is brought to you by santascloset.org, where you can find all your accessories for the discriminating Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the elves. Visit Santa Wade's website at santascloset.org today, where they are known for delivering unique, value-packed Santa and Mrs. Claus accessories since opening in 2004. The goal has always been to provide both a superior customer experience at a tremendous value. Their products are fairly priced, and Santa Wade strives to bring many different products to the Claus community. Visit the website and make your next season a truly special one. This is Angela Mack reminding you all to catch our show every Monday at 3 p.m. Central. Thanks for watching. Now let's get back to Bob, Randyl, and Company Live and today's Monday Santa's Closet Trivia.
All right, we just want to let everyone know that we appreciate SantaClaus.org. I had a good conversation this last week with Scarlett and Wade. Wade was in the background, but he was chiming in at times. They are going to be up in the Michigan area for the C.W. Howard Santa school that they have up there each year. They've been going ever since taking over Santa's Closet. And they've got a special location that they're going to be at. They're not going to be in the vendors extravaganza that's being put on. They will have a separate place, and I will have that address and times that they will be available coming up just as quick as I get that put together. All right, Mike, today is Monday Fun Day Trivia. We're going to go with believing. You know, we kind of started doing these Christmas quotes, and there's kind of been a theme to each one that I've used over the past few weeks, and this week's believing. So I'm going to let you go ahead. Well, I will remind folks that, of course, you get a prize from santascloset.org if you are the winner of the answer, and your name goes into the hat for the NPC 2025 scholarship drawing. And before we get away too far, we want Mike to remind folks that he also has a scholarship available. You want to tell them about that before we go any further?
There is another scholarship available that is available for hopefully a Canadian request, and the scholarship will pay for your tuition to North Pole Cornerstones. You are responsible for your own travel and hotel. And it is just for somebody who is interested in improving their skills as a holiday performer and wants to take the next step beyond the big red chair and wants to get into more performance-based. So hit me up on the social medias and we can talk if you're interested in this one.
Mike was a recipient of one of our NPC scholarships last year, and he's so graciously kind to pay that forward with a scholarship this year. And so at that point, the question's been up on the screen for a couple of moments. Mike, if you want to go ahead and read those, we'll be happy to see if we can play along here.
Okay. So the first, we are looking for the movie and the year for each question, and we're looking for both of them. The first one is, the quote is from what movie? Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. And the second quote is, Seeing is believing, but sometimes the most real things in the world are the things we can't see. So for each one of those movie quotes, we need what movie did it come from and what year did that movie was produced and released.
Yeah, you know, when you think into the depth of both of those quotes, those are pretty cool quotes. A lot of things that seeing is believing, and faith tells you, common sense tells you not to. So
Yes.
I love both of those. Those were great quotes. All right, everybody, get your answers in there. I see some partial answers coming in already.
Indeed.
See if we can get someone to have both of them again. You want to go ahead and read them one more time, Mike, before we move along?
So the quote from the first movie is, "Faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to." And the second quote is, "Seeing is believing, but sometimes the most real things in the world are the things we can't see." So I see some answers, but we need both movies and both release dates.
That's correct. That's correct. Okay, you guys work on that. In the meantime, Angela is going to play our Talbot Insurance Services promo today. And again, we want to say thank you to Larry Talbot for being a major contributor to the Tuesday Night Live, or TNL, as it actually is known now, network productions. This is something he's helping all of us out with. And we also want to say thank you again to santascloset.org, the two folks that make this show possible on Mondays, and Talbot helps make all of our shows possible across the network. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. All right, they're working on that still. Looks like there are some good answers coming in. I see some correct answers, and yeah, I believe there are some correct ones coming in. All right, so let's go ahead and move along. I'm going to do this really quick because, as I said, we're going to try to hold today's show a little bit shorter, being a holiday. North Pole Cornerstone's second annual sessions to be held January 31st through February 2nd, 2025 in San Antonio, Texas, at the Marriott Northwest. Save that date. Go over to npcornerstones.com and register. New information is being updated there as we put it together each week. We have weekly meetings between the members, and there's a few things that we're still holding back on that we haven't released yet, but the majority of it is there already. So if you're interested and want to find out what all is going on, I'll just say this. We do have some new presenters this year, and we do have some new material to cover. And we're taking what worked best last year from our after class questionnaires that we passed out. Folks like Mike and so many, Sean White, everyone that was down there last year, Randy and Debbie Neely, all gave us some great feedback. So we're going to take what they liked most, incorporate that back into our second session, and build off that with some new stuff. So it won't be a carbon copy of last year, but something that we think is going to be even greater and better than it was. Santa Ana Holiday University has announced that they will be in Phoenix, Scottsdale, Arizona at the end of this month. That's September 26th through the 29th. That is this year, 2024. Of course, two of my partners in the North Pole Cornerstones is Deanna Golden and Judith Broderick. School of Santa's 2025, Branson, Missouri. That's Spangle's school that he puts on each year. This year, July 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th. Lee Andrews is the keynote instructor. And of course, Spangle has a whole host of secondary instructors that come in and do presentations, as does Cornerstone. All right, Mike, let's go ahead and move on to the upcoming guest shows. I'm going to let you cover that one since I covered that portion.
Okay, so coming up tomorrow, Tuesday Night Live is celebrating their 150th show. And there'll be special guests throughout the show talking about the past of TNL Network Productions and the current state and the future of it. So that's going to be quite an event tomorrow. You might even see me or a sarcastic elf tomorrow. You never know. You never know. On September 10th, we've got Philip Wentz from Santa's Village in East Dundee, Illinois. Philip doesn't come online often to talk, so that is quite a special event. I'm looking forward to hearing what Philip has to say, and the state of how he feels things are going. For September 24th, we have Larry and Sherry Davis, who are performing Santa and Mrs. Claus, and they are also alumni of North Pole Cornerstones and School of Santas. And there are only 10 more shows left for 2024 for Bob and Randall and Company. Nothing really scheduled as of yet until October 22nd, which is the 4th annual Roundtable Panel, which will be talking about the state of our industry going forward. October 29th will be the annual Halloween special and costume party. Looking forward to seeing what costumes do come out, because I do know Santa Mel and Tony Russo have had some pretty epic costumes. And then November 5th is the send off to Christmas, and it's the ending show of season number 4. So lots of big stuff coming up.
That's right. I can't believe we're down to 10 shows on Monday and 9 now after today, and 10 shows on Tuesday. Ray Bradshaw, speaking of costumes, had a great costume this last year, and he's got another new one that he's already told me about.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to that. It's going to be pretty cool stuff. Now, there was one other that I did add, Mike. I told you earlier before the show started, I hadn't had any, but I forgot I did. September 17th. That's between Phil Wentz and Larry and Sherry Davis, the week between. Jenny L. Watts. She's a website designer and marketing guru.
Excellent.
And many of you may have seen her post on many of the top Facebook groups. She is one of those that can really help you on the marketing side. That she puts out little posts that asking the questions: "Have you done this? Have you done this? Have you done this?" I'm sure you've seen them, but she's really stepped into a large role in trying to help market Santa's and Mrs. Claus's and others. So
excellent.
Fantastic.
And we should also mention that September 11th will be the last show for the Kringle Brothers for 2024. So Michael Howe and Michael Buer will be celebrating their last show for the season of 2024. And it's also Herbie's birthday, I've heard. So we should probably wish him a happy birthday on that day as well. Yeah, so
sure should. Happy birthday. And we have asked Michael and Herbie both to come on tomorrow night's show also. They confirmed they would, but I haven't talked to them in about a week. So I'll follow up, make sure they're still available for tomorrow night. What we're kind of going to try to do tomorrow night is talk about where TNL came from, where it started, where it's going, and maybe each one of us pick out a segment or two during the last 4 seasons that stood out to us, and talk about that for a moment. What was a great teaching moment that we found along the way that might have helped us. Okay. What Mr. Trivia is here?
We have. Yep, AJ has joined us, as has Jerry Keel as well. So good to see both of you.
Fantastic. Ray says Papa the Third will be there, so that's the character that he's working on, and it'll be pretty cool.
Yep.
Yeah, Jerry, I don't know if this will help you or not, but there's a Facebook group that has been, matter of fact, was one of the first 2 Facebook groups for the Claus community that was launched years and years and years ago. It's called Santa's with a comma S Secret Workshop. That group is owned by Larry Shaw, and Larry does have a complete list of workshops, schools, and even chapter meetings and get-togethers on his page. You'll have to go over there, and at the top where the cover uh, photo is, has a listing of the 3 different pages. They're separate pages, but you can click on that, and it will take you to exactly what you're looking for there. So, Santa's Secret Workshop, that's owned by Larry Shaw, and maybe that'll help you out there. And maybe more of us do need to put up the schools and things ahead of time. Now, as far as North Pole Cornerstones, I started back. It's been 3 months ago now, Mike, maybe
Mhm.
promoting it with little, clicks, little cards, one cards. I'll say one cards. Many of you recognize one cards. They're just a promotional piece. We put these in everything. Spangle ships out for the Tuesday Night Live, and on the backside we have the Bob Randall and Company Live. We're having new cards made up for NPC. They will be available within next week, and those will start going out in mailers also. And I have again been posting those on my page and over at the North Pole Cornerstones Facebook page. And so if you need any updates on what we're doing, particularly with NPC, just jump over to NT Cornerstones, CORNESTONES.com, npcornerstones.com.
Thank you, Angela, for putting the link up.
She's Angie on the spot, isn't she?
Comment on YouTube from Ken.
I see that. Ken Kringle says, thinking about Bob's voice on last Halloween show still hurts my throat. You know what? That was kind of hard. I actually did it the year before, Ken, but I only done it in my opening segment, and then I got away from it and went to my regular voice. But last year I thought, hey, I'm going to stay in character the whole show. Well, I'm like you. My throat was hurting by the time I got through doing it. Of course, you can still tell it was old Bob in there, and underneath that old nasty mask. But anyway, that was fun. I don't know what I'll do for this year's Halloween. I hadn't thought about it. Been busy trying to keep these shows going and help put NPC together. And I'll have something up my sleeve. I don't know what it'll be. Angela says same here. Like Pickens comment. Okay. We do have a winner, correct, Angie?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, fantastic. Mike, you want to go ahead and tell the answers for the trivia?
Okay, so the trivia questions once more were, what movies did the following quotes come from, and what years did they come from? The first quote is, faith is believing in things when common sense tells you not to. And that came from Miracle on 34th Street, which was the 1947 version.
That's correct.
The second quote was, seeing is believing, but sometimes the most real things in the world are the things we can't see. And that came from The Polar Express from 2004.
And you know what? Those are 2 very popular movies. And I know sometimes when you watch a movie, things don't jump out at you the first time. Sometimes you go back and watch a movie again, you'll see things or hear things that you didn't see the first time. But those quotes are kind of, like I say, kind of those that kind of stick in your mind. Now, whether or not you can put which movie and then know off the top of your head what year it was, of course, released at. Takes a little bit of finger tapping on the keys, but fantastic job. And our winner is Randy Neely. Yay, Randy!
Congratulations,
Good job,
Randy.
brother. Good job. And just a little word of encouragement. Randy and Debbie's house got messed up back when we had those extremely strong storms here in North Texas. It's when we sustained tropical, actually hurricane force winds for about half an hour in a mega burst that broke out right here over the Metroplex. And they ended up with a lot of damage. They are finally getting their house back and getting it back in shape. Everything's looking so good. They got their new flooring in, got their new appliances. Everything's looking pretty good. By the way, what happened was we had so much rain that their foundation got undermined, and the foundation cracked and busted a hot water pipe and flooded their house. They left because they didn't have electricity. Many of us were without electricity for days. And so they left and went and stayed, I think the first night, a hotel, motel. they went and stayed with family and friends or something. And after a few days, went back home, and there was enough water that you could fill a swimming pool with almost inside their house. So good to see that they're getting their life back in order, and maybe a little gift from Santa's Claus that'll help you today, Randy. Put a smile on your face. Okay, Mike. Now, I had asked you about was you going to do a segment? You said you're going to put something together. Was you able to do that?
maybe not.
Yes, no.
What do they call those things?
A mime?
Yeah.
He's miming to us right now. All right. Do you want to do a segment, Mike?
I will happily do a segment. Yes,
All right,
yes.
fantastic. All right, we don't have a lead in for that, but here's what we will do. We're going to go ahead and turn the mic over to Mike. That's Mike and Mike. You got it? Hey, I could say the two-face Mike. It would be Mike and Phineas, right?
It could be, yeah, yeah. Phineas isn't here. I'm using his office, so I'm very
There you go.
grateful that he's
Fantastic.
let
All right,
me.
Mike, go ahead and take the floor, my friend, and let them have it.
So Randall usually provides a prop or a trick that he uses in his portrayal or in his Christmas work. However, I don't work a lot with props. My prop is my body and my brain. So a lot of times people just ask me where I get my ideas. And that's partly why I brought up the question I did this time around was I look beyond what the Claus community typically would look at for where they get their ideas from, what you're looking for to improve your performer. And my joke too, where I usually get my ideas is I usually get them from the manager's special carts at Kroger. But I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of watch a lot of videos, and I go shopping a lot. The joke about going to the manager's special cart at Kroger is somewhat of a joke, but it's also got a kernel of truth because you go to the manager's special carts at whatever store you've got, you never know what you're going to see, and I often do that. I will go to a Michael's craft store or go through the craft department or toy department at a Walmart and just sort of look at ideas, and I look at them through the eyes of a Christmas performer. And so if you find something that can light up, or the big famous one is the Minions fart gun that a lot of folks have used in their storytelling, that goes back several years to Steve Gillum and Sal and his book about that. But I also look at other books from other entertainers to help spur on my creativity. And this is an old chestnut. Everybody looks to The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and it's almost 30 years old at this point, and it's a remarkable way of spurring on your creativity. If you're looking for more entertainer type based ideas, I will highly recommend, and this is an entertainer from Alabama. His name is Steve Trash. He's a family entertainer. And the book is called Finding Your Light Bulb. And it's a remarkable work because it basically talks about how to find how unique you are so that they can only ask for you to do what you do. And I think I've taken that and run with Phineas, that there aren't a whole lot of people who do what Phineas can do. And that's what I focus on when I coach people and help them, is I help people focus on what makes them uniquely themselves as a performer. And I look at other items, other performers, and for ideas. Another book, which unfortunately is out of print, but you can get it as an audio book, and I'll give the link on the Tuesday Night Live show, A Guide to Unique Clowning by Dave Bartlett. Let's just erase the word clowning, and it's a guide to unique performing. And it talks about how to find the unique performer within yourself. And David Bartlett is a former school teacher with well over 50 years of performance. He's been a designer bearded Santa for nearly 53 years at this point. And it's a remarkable work about finding the unique performer within yourself. And that's what I try to do is when I talk to folks is I like to get to know who they are as a performer. You know, if you're a Santa, who you are as a Santa, what is your Santa like? What is your Mrs. Claus like? There's lots of opportunities to find out what is unique. And then you let that guide how you work with people and what you use in your performances. So the most recent thing I've discovered is a set of light up juggling balls, and I figured out how Phineas can use them. And if you want to see how I use them, you'll have to come see me, maybe at North Pole Cornerstones. I'll bring them with me there, and you'll get to see what I do with them. There's a couple of photos with me working with the glowing balls right now, and it's quite fun. And it fits in with Phineas's story in Christmas. And that's everything that I do. Everything that I do fits into Phineas's story with Santa and how we work together. So where do I come up with my ideas? I go shopping for them. And it may be going physically shopping at a toy store or a craft store, or it may be looking on Amazon. Thanks.
Great segment, Myke. Fantastic. You know, I do got to say, and this comes from the heart, there's only one Myke and there's only one Phineas. And you guys are definitely unique. We all love you. You have been such a blessing to the Claus community, as well as the clowning side of things with Phineas and the character that he is.
Thank you.
And we all love you, brother. We love you. We're here for you.
Thank
and
you.
I know that some days are harder than others, but just remember, everyone believes in you. All right, you know, and going back to the thing about going shopping, folks kind of ask me sometimes they'll catch me at the grocery store if and when I go, and I always go to three places, and folks will say, well, where can Santa be found away from the North Pole? Well, if you go to the grocery store, he's either in the toy aisle researching toys, he's in the cookie aisle seeing what kind of new cookies are out and they ought to have. And he's in the hair care aisle, checking out the newest and neatest things for hair care. Yeah, so three places Santa can be found away from the North Pole. All right, great job, my friend. That is such a good segment. I really love that. Okay, let's.
As I said, I'll put the links for the books and everything in the chat for this on the Facebook page. So
thank you. That way, folks can go check it out. Maybe buy a copy of those or get the audio book, as you mentioned, on the morning.
Yes, indeed.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into our Santa's Vintage Toy Vault. This week, we jump back to the 1950s again. We tried 50s, 60s, 70s. Let's go back to the 50s and do that one more time. You ready, Angie? tell you what, those are some good ones. I think everybody probably had Mr. Potato Head at one time or another. Now, if you'll remember, those of us who are old enough, going back to the 50s, which Mr. Potato Head debuted in 1952, you actually used fruit and or a potato, and you had to stick on eyes and the different hats and that sort of thing, which is different than the newer version of what children have nowadays. The three-coin register bank, I was fascinated with that thing. I don't know why. Me and my sister had one that we shared, and we would put our coins in there. And just a really cool little way to save money. The electric pinball game was one of my favorites. I really enjoyed having that one. Enjoyed it because I really liked playing pinball. We go to the bowling alley and as a teen and spend hours playing pinball. And of course, Tinker Toys. Who has not had Tinker Toys? You know, those were simple, fun. Just never got tired of playing with them. They were always so much fun. Anyway, that's a look back at the vintage toys from 1950. Hopefully, inspire you to get out, look at some new toys, figure out what's going to be hot for the upcoming season. There's some new stuff out there every year. We have to get out and know ahead of time what the children are going to be asking for. And there's plenty of different places that you can go to on the interweb that will tell you what the top toys for the season are predicted to be. All right, Mike, looks like there's some comments in here for you, my friend. Jerry says, awesome, Mike. Randy Neely says, excellent, Mike. Phil Corbett says, thanks, Mike. And Dr. Bruce says, great information. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Deborah Kaiser says she loves all the old toys. Well, it's something that we're not going to use that information as much as we will the newer toys. But it's kind of good to look back at where we came from, and you might get an adult come up and want to talk to you about vintage toys. My position at the mall is the adults like visiting with Santa as much as the children do. So the children may be taking the pictures more than the adults, but the adults always have conversation with Santa. And sometimes those old toys come up. They talk about, do you ever still give this? Or when was the last time you saw that? Or so it's kind of good to know those things. And we thought it would be fun to be able to go back and look at some of the vintage toys. All right, Mike, you got any final things that you got on your head for this week?
No, I was just going to follow up with Deborah's comment that, when Santa and Phineas visit the retirement homes, we often talk about the old toys because we need to, particularly in the memory care areas, we like to see if we can spur on some Christmas memories. What was your favorite toy when you got as a child? And it would be the Tinker Toys or the Lincoln Logs and Mr. Potato Head and stuff like that. So it's always good to keep that in mind as well. But I've got not much else to say. I'd just like to thank you once again for asking me to co-host. It's always an honor and a privilege to work with Angela and yourself and Randyl. Thank you very much, Bob. It's great to know.
You're more than welcome. As we said, we're privileged and honored to have you, such great company as in Bob Randall and Company. And I think that makes you a regular Coco host. Like I said, you may be the regular filling up for Mondays because you do such a great job, man. Always have so much to add. Your experience shows, and we love your personality. We love who you are, and we love your contribution to the Santa community. So we thank you so much.
Well, I'm glad to help as much as I can. So.
All right, don't forget tune in to TNL Network Productions' complete lineup of shows. Where as sorry, Mike. As Mike mentioned, September 11th is the last show for the Kringle Brothers. So if you want to catch them another, couple of times here, they got a couple of shows left. Get over and watch them on Wednesdays. Of course, we have the Monday show here. We have the Tuesday Night Live show on Tuesday nights, and Santa Mel is still doing Fellowship on Thursday nights, as well as the two follow-up shows with Erica and Sean.
Randyl will be hosting the Fellowship this Thursday, actually. So
yes, sure is. So be sure and get over and check those out. Always fun, always good to have. Well, thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much. Appreciate that very much. Ball and Jacks, Deborah. That's one we haven't talked about yet. Ball and Jacks. How many times did you play with those? Even I played with those, didn't you, Mike?
I did, yeah.
Fun. sat down with the girls on the floor, and because most of the time that was a toy that the girls introduced to us. I mean, at least in my case, it was, and would love to sit there and play balls and jacks. It's always a good one. Thank you for that memory, Deborah. All right, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Fantastic show. We was able to keep it a little bit shorter today. It's 4:06, 4:07 now. So I want to thank everyone for coming in and watching with us today. I know it's a special day, a holiday. Get out, enjoy it, spend it with friends, family. Hey, just get outside and enjoy the weather. We've got a chance for rain here, as I mentioned earlier. I had a notification popped up, says it's supposed to start raining here about 7 o'clock. So we need it, so I won't complain. Thanks, everyone. We will see you tomorrow night. Don't forget, tomorrow night is our 150th show for TNL for the Tuesday show. You know, we've had equally a number of shows here. There's always a Monday show as long as there's a Tuesday show. And so when you take that into consideration, you look at all of the outside events that we've done that wasn't considered an episode. We've done over 320, 25, 30 shows in 4 seasons. So we're proud of that. It's quite an accomplishment. It's been a labor of love, of course, trying to keep the topics going, content going, keeping you guys interested in coming back week in and week out. And we thank you for your support. Everyone have a great day. All right. Thank you again, my friend.
Thank you very much, Bob. Everybody have a good day.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.